Hello, hi, and welcome again to the Terminal Podcast, where in the end, it's all about the numbers. I'm your host. We are broadcasting high above Civic Center Station, and tonight we start Mets up by recapping the latest New York Mets starting rotation cycle. This would be the first of 2026, and for the few squirrels in the back, if you can see them in the woods there, or any of those stuck in traffic, let's get into the numbers. It's been an early start to the season. It's what I don't know what is expected. And this being April Fool's Day, the Mets are easily a topsy-turvy spin wheel. You can look at it one way or the other. They're 3-3. You can play the fool and believe that they're 3-3 because the pitching's been great enough and the bats just are not there just yet. You can be the other side and be the fool and believe that, well, because the pitching's been great now, it can't last all season. The bats are never going to be it, and the Mets are lucky to be at this 500 record now. They could be going in another direction. It's it's how you want to look at it. Freddie Peralta, he's the big trade, the big top of the rotation. It's really the who's going to start game one of your playoff series is really the best way to look at it. Not necessarily top of the rotation cycle of through and everything like that, because Freddie Peralta is going to kind of give you what Freddie Peralta has given you for the first two games. He's gone 5 innings in the opener against Pittsburgh. He went 5 innings today against St. Louis, five and a third. Uh, he's given up 9 hits total, six in the first, three in the second. First game, first game jitters. He gave up a two-run homer in the first inning. Fine. He gives up two more scattered around, everything like that. Ends up four runs, all earned. He only went 5 innings, struck out seven. Today, April 1st, in St. Louis, 2 p.m., 2:15 probably start because of the rain delay. He goes five and a third. He gives up one earned run, two walks, seven strikeouts. But come sixth inning, the wheels are coming off. And the question now becomes, are you the fool that believes the wheels are coming off because it's still early in the season? He's not stretched out completely yet, prepared to go deep into games? Or are you a fool that's going to say, because this is it? Because once he kind of gets through 5 innings, that's all he did last year. He did make 33 starts, but they were averaging five and a third. About this is pretty much what he averaged, what he gave Milwaukee, and a 17-6 and a 2.93 ERA, something along those lines, and a top five Cy Young finish. Is that what that equals? Is that equitable? Is all I have to give you is five and a third. And if it's a really good five and a third, you pay me a lot of money. And not only that, I'm listed as one of the top five pitchers in the league. Uh, you know, that's which way to look at it. I don't know. The overall starters of the five, they're gonna end up 2-1 between two wins between Peralta, who did get the win in the season opener, and Clay Holmes, who picked up a win going 5 and 2/3 against St. Louis just a couple days ago. Uh, Clay pitched well, I guess, like I said, 5 and 2/3, gave up a couple of runs, five strikeouts, three walks. That's going to be a pet peeve of mine and this team and every pitching coach, I'm sure, is this team isn't this pitching staff isn't powerful enough to walk people. Uh, Period. Point blank. Stop. Um, the only quality start, the only quality start was Kodai Senga, and for for all the oh my God, he's got to get traded and blah blah this and blah blah that. I am no fool when it comes to Kodai Senga because he's shown you what he is. He is the topsy turvy. He is if healthy, when healthy. Kodai Senga's really really good. Period. He's healthy now, and healthy means 99. He's averaging 97 with the straight fastball, which then sets up. So, I mean, but that wasn't that that was the only quality start. I don't think that was the best start. I think the best start was Peterson David Peterson in what would that have been? Saturday, uh, at home against Pittsburgh with basically that's kind of the home opener, so to speak, if you think about it like that. Everybody Thursday day was the home opener, everything like that, and that was a big day. And then everybody, you're off Friday, so then you're coming back out on a Saturday game. It it was a different feel for it, and being the longest tenure man, I kind of felt like that helped that he was there not only just to be there, but to throw what any Met fan looks and says, well, that's what David Peterson can do. He can be this long lefty with a lot of good stuff and be able to go five and a third and shut people down and not need to get ground balls, especially with a good infield. That was when the ball just found Bo Bichette at third base and throws were going to first base to try and test Mr. Polanco on that side of the ball. It's been an interesting couple of days to say the least. Uh, I am on the other side of the topsy-turvy when it comes to this. So the worst start to me out of the first five, and I'm being finicky here because nobody really gave me anything to work with. But Mr. McLean, um, you know, it was a big, I don't want to say a big deal, but it was a spotlight kind game where he was sort of front and center and everything like that. And it's at Shea and all that comes to it, and that showed, and that's fine. Unfortunately, everybody, and I say everybody, I mean the millions, you're all supposed to say and millions of Mets fans, whether they be calling in or leaving comments or just randomly calling themselves Met fans, even though they haven't rooted for Mets since 1979, probably when they went to the Washington Post. Um, Everybody sort of thinks that he's the truth. He's the next. He's the great. They list him as the number one. And I've seen it say they've got McLean and Peralta, and then find somebody else. And it's like he's he's got eight, nine starts maybe. Let's all slow down. Let's all slow down. And it showed that he's still a young pitcher because he didn't have any control of any of his stuff to start the game. Just comes out and just walks, and those are always going to come back and haunt you. And the 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 one that got me, and this is why I thought it was because the one big hit that he gave up, the home run that he gave up, is he shook off his catcher twice and then threw the pitch and then turned his head and watched it go. And that right there is I'm not going to say hubris because I obviously don't know what was called and everything along those lines. I just can see results. And the results were the pitch you wanted to throw was not the right pitch to throw at that time. Um, Look, I'm seeing him as anybody else would be fresh and everything like that. Seeing him at the World Baseball Classic was the kind of the first time I was able to actually kind of watch him pitch. Watching him on what was that Sunday, first time really getting a chance to, and he's got lights out movement on his stuff. He's got a 95, 97 mile per hour fastball, which can sit at 95, 94, and then bump up to 97, 90, that kind of boost is sort of thing where DeGrom used to do that, where Seaver, where the really good pitchers who last a little bit longer, you're already at 94, 95. I don't need it at 98. You can save it 98. 98's when you're trying to strike somebody out to get out of the fifth inning. But you can sit at 94, 95 when you've got a curveball that moves from the right side of your screen to the left side of your screen with speed on it. He's McLean's got it. He's got the and the attitude and the mental attitude and everything like that to pitch in New York and to be the man. And if he makes 20, 25 starts, and he's got that kind of stuff, and he's healthy. Who knows? Who knows? And you'd be a fool after seeing just a little bit of it to not go, well, if he can harness all that in, if he can control it, because that's what it comes down to. It's controlling it and then being able to come back and repeat it. But these are things that everybody already knows. I, like I said, 3-3. It's still April. It's April 1st. I'm still allowed to be uncharacteristically, uncharacteristically, and blindly optimistic, especially on April Fool's Day. I like this team. Would it be better to quote have a power hitter quote in the middle of the lineup? I sure. I don't know. I prefer right now that there are guys who teams are afraid are going to hit doubles. That is the kind of baseball that I prefer because I'd rather see a lineup that continues to go around because you have a single here and a walk here and a productive out there. And now it's there's one out, but there's runners on second and third. So that single scores 2 runs, but you still got another runner on base. So if someone hits a double, then it's now second. I mean, like that kind of thing, as opposed to just a home run, it clears the bases, and now we start over again because the pitcher is not as stressed as he would be if there's people on the base pads all the time. And it's just 6 games. And these last 2 games, they've become allergic to trying to score runs. But people are getting on base and there's people going first to third. These are things that, as a Met fan, I am not accustomed to recognizing as happening. Uh, it it's what it is. This is the team. And as far as he POBO Pobo, I guess I think POBO is the fastest way. We're on SNY of all the games I'll be watching. Gary Cohn and I believe it was Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez was in that. It might have been there when they were trying to discuss how we're going to shorten that down, or we're going to call them POBO because Keith wanted to go with general manager, but that's no longer the title for that position. Uh, David Stearns would have been called general manager in the 20th century. In the 21st century, he's the president of baseball operations, which the acronym of POBO. And if you say it fast enough, it becomes like it's almost 2 syllables, POBO, even though it's four letters, 2 syllables, PO, and then you've moved on. Same way you say GM. He wanted a better defensive team up the middle. Um, if you want to pick at him, you say, well, uh, the Luis Robert in center field, if he plays that one ball, he catches it and it's no longer blah blah blah. So he's not that. And Simeon's hasn't made any mistakes at second base yet, but he's not hitting. He's not hitting. Yes. Yes, he's not hitting. And I was sitting there thinking about it today as I watched him can go to what I think he was like over his last 16 or something like that. And it's like, okay, but I know he's gonna play quality defense at second base. I don't ever have to think about that. I don't know if that's not gonna last forever. The same way I can't believe all these people are not gonna start hitting and that will last forever. But I'm an April Fool. I'm allowed to be foolish. I'm allowed to believe that the simple signs where it was just the patience, that's the real thing. And it's the kind of thing where if you were in the spring locker room or something along those lines, it's where like Juan Soto had a bet up, like whoever can get the most walks or something along those lines is going to win this or something. You know what I mean? Like some sort of pool because between Simeon and Robert and the kid Benj, he just seems to. I haven't even talked about him, and I'm not going to, but everybody seems to be a lot more patient, at least in previous Met years. There's a lot of more people that are taking walks. Lindor hasn't hit the ball at all, but he's scored runs because he's got 7 walks on the season, which, if you think about it, they mentioned this today, it's kind of insane. You're walking Lindor to get to Juan Soto. I don't know. I guess you don't have to be afraid of Juan Soto because today's April Fool's Day. It's not anything you have to worry about. Uh, I am going to be worried about the way everybody is going to cover the automated ball strike system, ABS. I pray for the day. We kind of almost got to it where it's it's a forgotten thing. It's like in tennis. It's like in tennis. It's great when you're watching it at Wimbledon and you hear the whole crowd go, "Oh," as you're watching the ball going towards the line, and then everybody moves on. That can we get to that point where it's a moment, it's a thing, and we've gone past it? I I know we're right now at the very beginning of it. We're at the apex of it. It's at this hit, and we're coming back down and towards the bottom of the hill where hopefully it won't be anything, but there'll be some little rumbles and someone will cry and complain. But the thing about it is this has been in the minor leagues for the last like 5 years, I want to say. It's something ridiculously long because they've had enough time to test it out and try things and everything like that, like they're doing in the minor leagues since Manfred and everybody decided to make this whole thing an even bigger corporation. They're just getting around to the media rights now, but that's not the point I was making. The point I was making is if anybody's been in the minor leagues, anybody who's young, who's like the 22-year-old who's played in the minor leagues the last 2 to 3 to 5 years, knows about the ABS system because it's been there. So they're used to it. They understand what happens if you need to call it or not. I'm sure they already had a mindset of I'm not going to be able to call this. I can't call those pitches, yada yada, blah blah blah. This was also tried out in spring training last season. So if you're a diehard baseball fan like me, then you knew it was coming. So it's surprising like that everybody seems so shocked by it, that its existence. But I'm the fool that would have thought that people were paying some sort of attention before the season started. But then again, I'm also the fool that was paying full attention before the season started and was going to myself, well, when is this season going to start? Because I can't wait for it to start. It's starting in March. It's not even April, and I've already 6 games in. Um, I just don't want to really. What I don't want is the hindsight is 2020. It's the seventh inning quarterback of announcers saying basically, if they had the challenge, they could have used it there, or they could have used the challenge there, and everything like that, because we're gonna question every call. I guess it makes it better than questioning the call before it was just the umpire and you had no idea. It was worlds better when it was in the 20th century, only because I mean even into the early 21st century, the box wasn't there, right? Or did Fox put the box up, the strike box? I think that's a late that has to be a Fox creation, but I'm trying to remember when it happened. And I feel like it's around for the Subway series. So it probably was a little bit before then. I don't know if it's when Fox takes over. It would have been like 95 when Fox takes over that contract, I want to say. But either way, that was the change of now we as a fan have some sort of understanding of where the strike zone is. And it's leaving out so much context. Like the sheer fact that the cylinder that we're talking about is moving as fast as your car is on the highway, and not just your car, the car speeding past you because they're in the speed lane because it's going at least 75 if not 80 miles an hour. That is the speed of this object, and it's usually a lot faster, and it's moving a lot. It's not going straight because if it was going straight, it's probably going straight or in some other direction in the other direction. This ball is going the strike zone and description of the strike zone and everything like that. It's marveling that the umpires that we criticize consistently get calls right 98% of the time. When they get it wrong, they get it loud wrong. Like loud wrong. There's been a lot of loud wrong calls. I'm not saying that ABS is not a great thing that's going to help. I think it's going to it's going to catch those the strikes that were middle down the plate strikes, but then the catcher got up because he was trying to throw down or something like that, and we all saw that was a strike. and then the umpire called it a ball, and you're almost like, what did you not notice the, I don't know, but it's that kind of thing. But oof, yeah, that's what APS is. It's gonna stop that kind of thing where you're going, how'd you miss that call? How'd you not get that one? That's the one ABS is going to be able to help with. But it's not going to get every call unless you want robot umpire and then a robot strike zone. And the robot strike zone would be teaming up with EA Sports because then they're going to make sure they take a shape of everybody else because every major leaguer is going to want to do this, and this is going to have to go through MLPA and all this stuff like that. All of this is just foolish. It's all foolishness. There is an umpires union, and I know that they're already in the middle of a negotiation now because they recognize that their jobs are on the line. Because then it's going to be, so what are we here literally just to call plays at the plate and to hand balls to the catcher? Is that the only job that they have? The base umpires obviously have a job that's important as well. Do we really want baseball to be completely automated? Is that something that, as an older, as a 20th century born and raised, I can't imagine, but I also didn't imagine that there'd be a pitch clock. Uh, as far as things like that, it's like I didn't know it was going to happen in the 21st century. This is a new century. I'd be foolish to say I knew this is what it could or should be. If I, I don't, part of the beauty of the catchers that I watched, whether it was Pudge Rodriguez or, I just remember Pudge, Yadi Molina with the Cardinals was really good at it. If I really start thinking, I mean, like Gary Carter, the old catchers, the there's a there's a whole different whole different contest going on between the catcher and the home plate umpire. And the catcher finding was it Javi Lopez with the Braves? There's there's a battle there of, okay, so if I catch it like this and here, you're going to give me that call, right? That's your strike zone. Understanding what that person's strike zone is behind you. And yes, it should be one uniform strike zone, but it can't be because every batter isn't uniform. They all have different heights. The width of the plate is one thing, but the height and the depth of it and how that relates to the other person, that's all unique. Just like the umpire's strike zone behind the catcher was a unique strike zone, and the catcher's attempt to take for one game for 9 innings for 2.5 3 hours is to, by catching the ball, how can if this pitcher can get this thing on track and throw it to where my glove is, what can I do to, so if I put my glove here, are you going to call that a strike? If I can get it here and then can I get it a little bit further out and still get that strike call? That is an interior, it's a small saber type contest that's happening amongst other things that are happening within the game of baseball, which is, it's I heard somebody say that in a soccer match, in a football match, that there's all these little stories that are happening all the different times. I guess you consider all the different attacks all being a different stories within themselves you could write paragraphs about. But I've watched it and I could write a paragraph about a certain attack if it led to something worthwhile. But if it's going to be something that just ends off, someone kicking it wide or losing possession, it's foolish to think about any of that. Um, Foolish for me to try and continue since I'm just babbling anyway. Look, I'm happy with this Mets team. I'm happy to see where they're going to go. It could just be because I love baseball and this is the start of this marathon, and I I I prefer this people to run with than the guys that we lost. They keep on flashing all four of them up there. Jeff McNeil is not the Jeff McNeil that he was. I miss Jeff McNeil. as the player that he was. I appreciate what he became uh, as a defensive plug hole, as a person that can play all these different positions and defend them well, and doesn't get enough credit for that. But as far as a person with a bat, it didn't work out as the way it was before, as it did seemingly before they eliminated the shift. Uh, but via con Dios. Brandon Nimmo, that was I still stand as a contract trade, and I'll take Simeon not hitting and 3 years and gold quality glove at second base than five of Brandon Nimmo, and I still appreciate him via con Dios. Pete is I'm not having the Pete conversation. It's just too much. And Edwin Diaz is the one Stearns POBO mistake that he made this offseason. Is it should have been how much is it going to take? What can I give you to keep you? What is it? 40 million a year here. What is it going to take? I guess is what Edwin wanted. And then they could have gotten Devin Williams, and then they could have had the but. Yeah, can't can't cry over spilled milk. Can't think about things that didn't happen. Gotta look forward, and to look forward with a trivia question. The Mets, just finishing their 3-game series in St. Louis, are traveling to San Francisco for the next four. The trip from St. Louis to San Francisco is roughly 2,100 miles. 2-day car ride, depending on depending on how willing you are behind the wheel. I have done, and it was one of the things I've not necessarily bragged about, but it's a good two facts and a lie thing. But I've driven from uh, roughly Kansas City, Missouri, to Raleigh, North Carolina, and back in 36 hours to pick up a pair of cats. Didn't end up giving one of those cats away, but that's neither here nor there. According to Google, According to Google Maps, the trip between St. Louis and San Francisco is 2,583 miles via motorcycle. So if you were taking a motorcycle, I don't know why you would, but some people have motorcycles and will take long trips like that. Isn't that Lobo character from like DC Comics one of those guys that will go on trips? He probably can fly because he's an alien or something along those lines. Anyway, how many days would it take to take by motorcycle according to Google Maps to go from St. Louis to San Francisco? That's the number or numbers that I'm looking for. You'll see the answer in the description to this episode. I'd like to thank you all for listening on Pandora, Spotify, or however. If through Apple, please leave us a review. I'll be back soon enough with hopefully something better to put down. So thanks for listening and take it easy down your life's highway and have a good afternoon.